Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another gripping episode of Behind the Investigation. I'm your host, Mike, with Elite Investigations. And let me tell you, this past week has been a whirlwind of activity. It's fascinating how, in my line of work, cases in a similar nature tend to come in waves. This week has been no exception. Imagine this, I am currently juggling 3 intriguing cases with 3 different clients, each involving individuals who have no idea they're the lucky benefactors of an inheritance. The catch? Nobody knows where they are, and it's my job to track them down. It's a bit like a treasure hunt, but instead of gold, the prize is a life-changing news for someone who's completely in the dark. Once I wrap these up, I'll be diving into the details with you. Trust me, it's a mystery worth unraveling. And if that wasn't enough to keep me on my toes, I'm deep into a case of a different sort, a cheating spouse scenario that's unraveling with every new clue. Alongside that, I'm navigating the complexity of another child custody case, where every detail counts and every action matters. Adding to that excitement, I've teamed up with a fellow private investigator here in town to crack open a cold case homicide. It's a story packed with twists and turns, and I can't wait to share more on that in an upcoming episode. As we approach summer, things are heating up. Not just the temperature, but in the world of investigations too. This season seems to bring a surge in cases involving cheating partners and missing persons. It's like the heat brings out the secrets and the mysteries, and we're here to uncover them all. So stay tuned as we dive deeper into these cases and explore the world of mystery, intrigue, and discovery. It's all happening right here on Behind the Investigation. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite drink, sit back, and let's get started on today's episode of Behind the Investigation. Tonight, we're trying something new. A little segment I like to call Confession of a Private Eye. I get a lot of questions from clients and from people I meet in the community, and now from folks watching this show. So I'm going to take some time and answer those questions for you all. All right, so let's begin. Question number 1. Did a client ever turn out to be the bad guy? Well, kind of. About 3 to 4 years ago, the FBI put out a warning to private investigators throughout the United States that foreign governments were covertly enlisting the help of private investigators to track down individuals within the United States. One PI in New York has been arrested and charged and convicted for aiding a foreign entity in monitoring an unsuspected target. And that foreign entity, surprisingly, was the PRC, the People's Republic of China. It's crazy, man. So I never thought lonely old me here in Billings, Montana would get something like that. But I received a very strange call. I would forever change my perspective on this world of private investigations. The caller spoke broken English and requested a thorough background check on a doctor employed at a clandestine lab in a remote area of Montana. This lab wasn't just a facility, it was notorious among law enforcement circles of its tightly guarded secrets and heavily armed security. a place where the line between innovation and espionage blurs. You know, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right as I talked to this guy. I mean, I just got just the way he was asking about the information. This lab exists and it's not well known. It is known within the law enforcement area. We're all aware of it, but a lot of people in the community don't realize what goes on in this lab, and that it's it's not top secret, but it's pretty close to that. Anyways, this guy, he wanted to know intimate details about a scientist that works at the lab. He wanted to know his home address, and he wanted information on the guy's family. Well, I learned to trust my gut after years of being in law enforcement and doing private investigation work. And like I said, something wasn't right. So I decided to contact the FBI. I detailed the bizarre request I had just received. And within a heartbeat, 2 FBI agents were at my office. And their expressions of mix of urgency and concern as they gathered every scrap of information I had on this caller. It was crazy. But they were very intrigued on why this guy would want this information. The FBI agents left, and I never heard back from them, nor did the mysterious caller ever reach out again and ask me about the investigation. Okay, question number 2. What's the most common misconception people have about private investigators? Well, you know, we're not like characters in the movie and TV. It's not with trench coats and magnifying glasses. The truth is, it's a lot of detail work, methodical work, and less than glamour and more of grit. And a lot of sitting in cars, watching and waiting. It's kind of boring at times. Question number 3. How do you handle situations when you uncover information that could be potentially harmful to the client? Well, that's a delicate situation, but I prioritize honesty and transparency. Delivering difficult news is never easy, but it's part of the job. So you just do it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. You be direct and you just tell them the truth and what you've learned. Question number 4 is, how do you manage to maintain objectivity, especially when the cases become emotionally charged? You know, that is challenging, but that's why you hire a private investigator. We focus on the facts and evidence and setting emotions aside to ensure a fair investigation. It's not easy sometimes, but it is necessary. Question 5. What kind of gadgets or technology do you rely on most in your investigations? Well, you know, I like to keep it simple. Nowadays, the iPhones or your mobile phones, their cameras are exceptional. And everybody has a phone in their hand. So when I'm sitting in a restaurant or a bar or wherever, and I have my phone in my hand, people think I'm just texting, but I'm actually probably taking photos or video. It's great. We also use GPS trackers when we can, when the law permits. We use hidden cameras in hallways or, like before, in trees, looking down on a particular area. And then I also have the typical digital camera with a telephoto lens, and you know, I can be 100 yards away and zoom in on somebody and get a good photo. So we use cameras and stuff like that. I also have bug detecting equipment where we can detect listening devices, whether it's in an office or a house. All right, and question number 6. How do you ensure your own safety while following a potential dangerous subject? Well, that's a good question. Safety is my top priority, obviously, and I take precautions such as informing someone I know about my whereabouts. And then, you know, I use discreet equipment so that they can't really tell that I'm there monitoring them, obviously. I wouldn't be good at my job and I wouldn't be able to get anything. And then, I stay alert, as they train in law enforcement. We have an old saying, you keep your head on a swivel, look around, be alert to your surroundings. That's the key. Question number 7 came in. Can you talk about a case that left a lasting impact on you personally? I can. It's a case of a missing boy, a 6-year-old named Gary Hose, and he's in Arizona, or he's missing from Arizona. That case is it's very alarming, and I'm actually going to dive more into that in a future episode, so we'll get more into that. But if you do want to catch up on a little bit of it, if you go to my website or my YouTube channel, there's some news videos about that investigation. But again, in a future episode, we'll dive more into that. Question number, I think we're on 8. How do you deal with cases that involve potential illegal activities? Well, it depends what you mean. If a client's asking me to do something illegal, then I just won't take the case. But if I see something illegal going on and it's a safety concern, or if it's a type of illegal activity where I'm obligated to notify law enforcement, let's say like a child is being hurt or harmed, then I would immediately call the police and let them know. But I also touch base with the client and let them know what's going on also. Question number 9. What's your process in gathering evidence that is admissible in court? Well, collecting court admissible evidence involves thorough documentation, man. You really got to document everything and follow legal protocols. I've got to be able to gather that evidence legally. I've got to document it properly, and I got to be able to support it and back it up when I'm on the stand in front of the judge and or a jury, and when I'm getting cross-examined. So it's a process, but you just document. Question number 10. How do you approach cases where the subject is actively trying to evade surveillance? Adaptability is key. You got to use a mix of technology and strategy. I try to stay one step ahead. I try to predict where they're going, and usually I got an idea because of their patterns. It's a constant game of chess. I like to, every now and then somebody will lose me. If they do, it's usually in traffic or at a traffic light, but we're pretty good at what we do. Question number 11. Have you ever had to collaborate with law enforcement? Yeah. If you just saw the episode before this, many times. And like I said, the episode before this was a child custody case, and I worked hand in hand with probation and parole and was able to get the subject arrested. Looks like question number 12. Question number 12. What advice would you give to someone considering hiring a private investigator? Well, I think you clearly want to outline your reason for hiring a private investigator. And you need to understand the costs, and you should discuss confidentiality. Evaluate that private investigator's communication with you and be realistic about your expectations. We're not magic workers, but if we're good at our job, we can usually get a good outcome. Or, even no answer is an answer in itself with you. Is my wife cheating? If we find out, no, she's not, then there you go. There's your answer. Can you always tell when somebody's lying? Well, not always, but I like to think that I can. With my years of experience in law enforcement and as a private investigator, I feel I can tell if someone's being untruthful. People usually lie to protect themselves or to manipulate others. But, the more they talk or just their tone or when they hesitate on an answer, like in law enforcement, a dead giveaway was you'd ask somebody, especially an adult, what their date of birth was or their social security number. And when they pause to think about their date of birth, well, that's a warning flag that they're probably not telling the truth, or the next thing out of their mouth is not going to be truthful. So here, number 14. Can you tell me if my neighbor is spying on me? Well, you might need to call me to find out. But no, in all seriousness, if you feel you're being watched, I would document that, and I would document the time and the location and anything suspicious, vehicles in the area or people in the area, and just keep a running, log or journal on it. But then you could probably reach out to a private investigator. And a lot of investigators, like as myself, offer counter surveillance and look for people watching you. Question 15. Is it legal for a private investigator to carry a gun? In Montana, yes, it is, if we're properly licensed through the state. But most of the time, our biggest weapon is the camera. That, it's cliche, but it truly is. I carry my camera, like I said, it's my cell phone. It's with me all the time. Question 16. What's the number one mistake people make when hiring a PEI? Well, they usually wait too long before they hire them. By the time they call, the damage is usually done. Like maybe a witness, they waited so long, and by the time we look for witnesses, they've died off, or we can no longer locate them. Stuff like that. Question number 17. How do you follow someone without them knowing you're there? Distance and timing is key for that. You trail with intent, using the shadows and blind spots and your instinct. And you just stay far enough back. Question 18. Have you ever gotten caught doing surveillance? Well, not by the target, but when you do a lot of surveillance in neighborhoods and you're parked in a neighborhood, good neighbors get suspicious after a while. And there's been a time or two where the cops, I'll look in my rear mirror and I'll see the black and whites pulling up behind me with the red and blues on. But usually once I explain that I'm a private investigator and show them my license, they're always pretty cool about it and go about their way. Because if you're parked legally, there's not much they can do. They just want to make sure you're not, a burglar staking out the joint. So a lesson there is always rotate your locations. Don't sit in the same spot all the time. Question 19. What do you do if someone runs when you see them? I'm too old to chase after them, I can tell you that. I let them run. My job is not to chase, it's to document. Running just confirms that they've got something to hide. And eventually, and this is true about everything, people always circle back and continue their same old routines. So, if you confront your spouse about cheating or you suspect it, they may stop for a while, but sooner or later, they're going to go right back to it. Question looks like 20. Is it legal to track someone's phone? No, it is not. Not without consent. We do things the right way, or we don't do them at all. Have you ever had a subject confront you face to face? No, I haven't. Again, I try to stay far enough back. My job is to do things, and I think most PI's jobs is to do things without being seen. We don't want the target to know that we're watching him or her. So no, I've never been confronted face to face. Can a private investigator get someone's phone records? Only with a subpoena or if they belong to the client. Next question is it legal to film someone in public? Yeah, generally it is legal. But private property is tricky. Consent, context, and state law all matter. I try to stay informed, so that we can stay within the bounds of the law. The next question: have you ever had to testify in court about your findings? Many times. Testifying is where a good investigation becomes real. Every note, every timestamp, every observation has to hold up under cross-examination. It's just part of the job. Next question is, have you ever solved a missing persons case? Yeah, I have. I've solved a few of them. One in particular is a sister that was homeless, and they hadn't heard from her in, I think it was over a year, and I was able to track her down. And it took a while, but I did finally find her. Sometimes people don't want to be found, and it's hard, but we find them. And when you're able to bring them back to their family and see that, and see them reunite, it's unforgettable and it's a great feeling. What is one case you wish you could go back and do differently? There's a homicide that I investigated in a small town here in Montana on the eastern part of the state. I really wish I could do some stuff on that different. And this is another one. This is going to be another upcoming episode that we'll discuss and dive a lot deeper into that case. I know who the murderer is on that one. Next question. What should someone never do if they think they're being cheated on? Well, I don't know about never do, but don't confront them without proof. You'll just scare off the truth. Let us do the digging, quietly, thoroughly, and professionally. And we need to catch them more than once. That part is key, catching them more than once. I don't know how many times I've caught somebody and then the spouse confronts them that we caught them. And then the cheater will tell you, oh, it was the one time. The one time I didn't go bowling and I went over to a coworker's house because she needed me to help with the faucet. And maybe his lie is semi-plausible, but you and I both know that no, he was cheating. But if we were able to catch him multiple times and you confront him about the one time and he tells you that lie, or she tells you that lie, then you bring out all the other times. Oh, so you just went there the one? Yeah, I just went there the one time. Okay, well, what about this time? What about that time? And you lay it all out. You let them walk themselves right into the wall. Next question. Have you ever had to investigate someone you personally knew? That's a good question. And yes, I have, and it's not easy. But it's about facts and integrity. And part of me was hoping I'd be able to clear him and clear his name in this. But it turned out he was doing a lot of the drugs and some of the other bad things, and it was very disappointing. But in the end, I hope that he gets the help that he needed. And yeah, he doesn't talk to me anymore, but I'm pretty sure me and the client who hired me, we probably saved his life. And I hope one day he'll understand that, and we'll be able to talk again. What's your favorite kind of case to work on, and why? I'd say missing persons or finding a birth parent, if you were adopted, because that changes lives, and it's really rewarding to be able to do that. It's not bad news. It's not depressing like, a cheating spouse case or a child custody case where, a family's being torn apart. So I think I like those a lot. They're challenging and kind of exciting to work. Okay, well, I think that's enough questions for today. Let's wrap this episode of Behind the Investigation up. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions. We love hearing from you. Please keep them coming, and we'll try to dive more into them. I'll try to do it once a month if possible, so keep those questions coming up. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our social media channels to stay updated on our latest investigations and behind-the-scene content. Your curiosity fuels our journey into the unknown. And as always, stay safe, stay curious, and we'll uncover more mysteries together. Until next time.